words of text. Your style, my friend.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's
never a bad time.
Okay, so out of all the people you know, and these guys can back me up, how many people spout as many memes as you do in real life? Let's be honest.
In real life?
Yeah, it's you.
In real life? Is that a thing?
You know what I mean, though, right?
Someone has to champion the cause of the majority viewership. More people watch online than live. You couldn't fit all those people in here.
Who's that? Is that Patrick Drogo?
Something like that?
There's a massive.
Like a
It is, right? That's right. That's
The closest one? The closest
yeah,
one?
no, in the blue.
Yeah.
What's
It is.
happening?
He just slammed his.
Oh.
Oh.
Let's watch.
Is this appropriate shot?
Guys, there's like party and there's people surrounding him now. We can't see him.
Yeah, he's banging.
People are crowding.
Who is he playing? Oh, he's lost. He lost. Who did he play?
Baby rage.
The
you
pain
guys
of
at
being
home,
a pro gamer.
You guys
The
at
pain.
home, first-hand experience. Whoever Patrick Drogo just played against.
Oh my god, I can see the army graph. It was like
He's got his hand in his head. His head in his hands. Oh. Woohoo. I don't know who he's playing against. Uh-oh.
Okay, he's getting up. All right.
Don't look.
Well, guys, by the way, that series we were talking
wait.
about earlier.
Wait, he's going over. Zanster. Is Zanster.
Zanster caused such unhappiness.
He gave the handshake though.
He did go over.
He didn't break his spirit.
I feel the raw passion
That's
coming
a
from
very
over there.
brutal graph.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's bad.
So
That's
obviously we
that's like
haven't
move
seen the
commanded
fight,
into
but-
lurkers graph. You just see, I see like the one line is just kind of like no, and then there's this
Really?
yeah.
You couldn't see it?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I got the chair in the way and stuff.
was a big...
Yeah, it's tough. You can let us know what your theories are, of course, on social media. Make sure to hashtag set the rule. You can win some sweet swag from our sponsor, ROCCAT, who put together this $50,000 tournament to kick off Legacy Wood. It's been awesome. And also make sure to hashtag DHW15 as we are here in Jönköping.
Yep.
And outside of the brutal life at Pro Gamers Leave, we have to find out who else is going to become a loser as we have Puck versus Happy up
Very
next.
positive way to spin it, mate. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. We talked about it a little bit before, the European versus American. We actually talked a lot about it before because it was almost ready, and then we switched out of it. But going back to this, actually, that's something that... No. It's cool to talk about. I think it's something that a lot of people at home never really get to experience and see properly.
That's why you got to go to an
Right?
event, man. You can see, when you go to events like this and you stand behind, like there are people here. You know, you see
the name like online, and you see
Yeah.
him playing, and it's like, oh yeah, I really like that player, but you don't really know what they go through.
Yeah.
It's like talking to people online. It's like you never know when someone types you GG in like a ladder game. You don't know if they slammed their keyboard and then typed GG.
Yeah.
You don't know if they were like GG and then they
can
just walked
see it,
away and they
hear
like
it, and
logged off
feel
to just
it.
like went for a run. You don't know that. Or
I'm
maybe they
trying
just all
to-
tabbed.
I'm trying to think of one of the big stories we've had over the years of like someone raging hard. And the one that comes to mind is Slivko and Naniwa.
That happened?
Like every match Nanny played? Or
No, but it was Slivko that was raging.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I think that he did a double fist bang.
And he
like,
snapped the
jumped
table in
the
half,
table,
probably.
and it jumped the table. And I just remember like him walking over very aggressively to Naniwa, like shaking his hand and sitting back down again. I mean, it's not super.
I've broke a
hype
keyboard
story,
or
but
two.
There's Zanster after his win. That's the I won kind of an.
Emotions are nice to see, though. It's like, even though it sucks to see somebody sad, it's nice to know they care so much. It's like there's been a really sad photo of TLO when he lost like a WCS match that's quite prominent.
Yeah,
and I've had one where I lost against Rhett that was like super bad too, but it's just because you care so much.
Yeah. Happens to everyone,
It's good
right?
to
Gotta
know.
be like TLO and stop caring. Remove those feelings. Become the robot. Beef up.
funny when he said that. It is more efficient to remove the emotions.
Innovation
Like, all right,
had
German
success,
efficiency.
and so will I.
Innovation, my idol. I want to be like him.
The robot
Win
himself.
lots of games.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. But it definitely
It's such a struggle, though. It takes a long time to master.
master controlling your emotions.
Yeah.
Are you
how can when you're so passionate about the game, at some point you're gonna get a bit salty if you lose in a certain way, like TY versus Lilbo. It's like, I had this game.
Yeah.
And then the
There's-
adepts just...
Everybody gets that feeling though. At some point or another, you feel like you're like, especially like as a scrub. Like you feel like you're finally doing something right, and then you lose, and you're like, I had it. Oh,
I've watched your stream.
That's what StarCraft does to you, though.
I've watched your stream.
It's because you get so focused, you get so like worked up that you're like, I'm finally making progress at something. And I guess for a pro, it's like, you know, I'm at a tournament, I have a chance to succeed, and then it's like, no, actually, you're going home now, and the person's like, you know, that's it, it's over.
Can you tell us before we talk about this match, because again, but can you tell us like one of the PJ Salt moments you've had over the years, like one moment that really stands out where you did get a little salty inside?
I've seen a very salty Snoot on multiple occasions.
Ben had a very unpleasant experience with me.
Oh, Ben?
When he proxied a Reaper on Yonsu, one of the smallest maps in the map pool.
Proxy Rex?
And I've never been so salty. Like, that was one of my most salty moments.
Sure you got the right guy here?
Ben brought out the worst in me.
Did he give you a bit of smack talk in the chat? Or?
Yeah, I absolutely did. So he was like, he had this proxy 8 supply Reaper in my base.
That's a good one, Ben.
And I could tell like he was enjoying his life so much, having this Reaper snipe all my drones, and I was sitting there just, oh no, this can't be happening.
Not
and
like
I typed
this.
out in chat,
That's
it was
so funny.
maximum PJ Salt, and I said, man, I wish I could be you right now, winning this game with this Reaper. Like, this kind of thing.
You know what's the best is when In Control's at these events with us, I love the In Control version of the Muslim and Idra. That's like the best story of PJ Salt. How you sat next to him game after game after game, 2-raxing, sometimes purely just to wind him up, if not purely to wind him up.
Like, okay, the whole Idra situation, I thought it was kind of funny. And like I thought he was kind of in on it because like he'd beat me, I'd beat him, but every time I beat him, he'd insult me like really hard. And I was like, oh, banter, mate. Like, I really thought it was okay. And I remember there was one time that I was 2-raxing him because he like was insulting me during the whole thing, like just flaming me really hard. And I was like, oh, banter. And then like as I'm killing him, I took a swig of Monster and he looked at me.
I remember that,
and he freaked the fuck out. Like it was silence in the house for days. Like
that
it was
image, that someone like screen capped both streams. That picture was like top of SC Reddit for at least a week.
Yeah, and I was still thinking like, oh yeah, funny man, funny, but no, he did not think so. Like that's the day I realized like this is not comfortable.
we do have another match coming up, by the way. We are actually ready to go to the casters. It's we already kind of talked about it anyway. It's Happy versus Puck, some PVT action with the last North American. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Nathanius. So yeah, we will be having Puck against Happy. And Happy, I kind of predicted him to do a bit better than he is doing right now. He's 0-2 in the group.
Yeah, quite surprising if you ask me. Like he's been practicing Legacy for such a long time, so it's weird.
Like he's one of the players that...
And if he loses this match, he's going to be out, right?
Yeah, I believe going 0-3 in a group, even if you finish 2-3, your chances are looking rather slim. So yeah, it's quite bad. And
needs to come back here.
Anybody in Europe that's played a lot of ladder, such as yourself, you've played against Happy. You've played those drawn-out games where you went Swarm Host when they were good,
yes,
and he went Mech, and they'd be the longest games of your life.
He was one of the very few Terrans that were comfortable playing long games against the old, obnoxious, long games causing Swarm Hosts. Anyway, here in the bottom of Dusk Towers, from Russia, it's Happy. One of the more intense-looking pro gamers out there.
A 99% win rate against Protoss.
Yeah, I like these 99% win rates.
I like his name, Dimitri.
Yeah.
And spawning in the top right, hailing from America, it is Puck.
Playing on the ID Mellow. I wonder if that reflects his mood for this tournament.
Puck, definitely one of the interesting players from America. For a long time, he sat in the shadow of a lot of other players, but always claimed he was strong. But we didn't really get to see him really show it until kind of late into Heart of the Swarm. He was always a grinder, grinded a lot of games, but finally started really showcasing Blink Stalker Sentry control and being very persistent with his strategies, especially against Zerg. And for the Americans, they don't really get a lot of opportunities to showcase themselves. So just for those at home that don't know the results of this group, he's currently sitting at 2-0. And this isn't, none of these groups are easy. Also in this group, by the way, Firecake actually beat Bomber.
That's quite impressive.
Quite impressive
Especially after
indeed.
watching Bomber versus Sandster, the macro level there was quite crazy. But the thing is, Firecake and Bomber is a little bit of a weird stylistic match because Firecake is actually also a very, very strong macro player. And with the way that the Ravagers are looking right now, yeah, I didn't watch the games, but if Firecake gets to his comfort zone and makes Roaches and Ravagers, then Bomber would most likely be in trouble trying to engage head-on.
You know, like, yeah, you're totally right. When Firecake isn't hiding hatcheries, he's actually a very, very competent Zerg. And
absolutely.
Also, during like Swarmhost peak, even against Bio, when Zergs learnt to use them against Bio, he was one of the greatest abusers of them and had a very good win rate against Terran. I remember him absolutely decimating every Terran he met, including like 4GG and stuff. He made it look easy, but he also used to tear them apart mentally. He'd make it insanely hard for them. But anyhow, in this matchup, so Happy's getting a really good scout off. He's also getting a very fast starport here with a Widowmine.
This is a one-base build from Happy. Is this what you normally would expect from him on the ladder? Does he one-base a lot in TVT?
In TVT, he'll scout very adamantly. So usually he'll SV scout you, harass you with the SV, then you'll have a Reaper follow-up. And then depending on what you do, he'll have two very different options. If he sees you going Reaper as well, he'll expand. If he sees you not going Reaper, you're going to get one-base Hellion dropped. Like it's very, very systematic.
Always following these systematic patterns.
But in TVP, realistically, hoping to deal damage with Marine and a Widowmine and a drop, you are really hoping. I really don't think... Oh, I hope he shows me very different, but getting out 6 Marines and a Widowmine, by the time you get to the base, you're dealing with a very different photon overcharge here.
And Puck here also going for the robotics facility. Even on a map like this, you don't really need to rush it, but it's going to be a very good choice against Happy here. You know, on a map like this, you could have just gone for the Twilight and go for some super greedy third, but
now,
did he see it?
I wonder if he saw that, because if he did see it, that is great news for him. Producing a sentry, though, that makes me think that he did not. As a sentry against any sort of drop, be it Hellions, Marines, Widowmines, it's just not good. It's not efficient at dealing with that drop.
Yeah,
So
I wonder how the pylon overcharge situation is in the natural. There is one pylon, but the mine is going to burrow, and so far no splits. Oh, this is bad.
Oh
my God.
Lord. That decimated.
13 probes just went down. That's massive.
Okay, this is...
And the mothership core falls as well. This is terrible for Puck.
No photon overcharge. The Adepts are not doing anything on the other side of the map.
There's the answer to your question, Ben. This opening just turned out to be a massive success
oh my
for
God,
Happy.
and the Artosis pylon.
Oh wow, this is so bad. And you know the worst part? There is no minerals to rebuild this pylon.
Oh my God.
Wow, just typing a heart and GG. I don't know what to make of that. But Happy,
just another day.
Happy the ladder machine, another day at the office. Let's go for the next game. This was too easy.
It's moments like this where, you know, you kind of talk about a strategy and you're like, I'm not sure how effective this can be.
And then you see this?
But then you see this. Like, honestly, though, Puck's reaction, he reacted very late to that Widowmine drop.
And that's the dangerous thing about grouping too many probes and pulling them apart and using the mineral walk, because they clump cluster, and then they die. Cluster. It's horrible.
Yeah, they overlap one another a lot. So there was a few things there. He had a probe out on the map that may have just seen the medevac,
but just didn't. It's one of those tournament things. If
you're at home and you're very comfortable and all the colors make sense in your peripheral vision, then it can be a totally different story. Also, the Adepts moving out onto the map, they just saw a glimmer, but I think it was quite obvious that he didn't really see it.
Yeah, because then the chrono boost would have gone down on the gateway. It was still in the Nexus. We probably wouldn't see the continued probe.
You would have seen the direction of the medevac, so you'd had your mothership core ready to pylon overcharge.
Exactly, and then the mine would never have been able to burrow if the pylon and the mothership core and the probes together were all firing at the Widowmine before it would drop. Like, there's no chance.
And it only takes 3 shots to kill the Widowmine now, rather than the 4 of the previous photon overcharge.
It goes down far before it's actually down in the ground. So. Very unfortunate opening, and if you were in Puck's shoes right now, how would you feel going into the second game? Like, how do you come back from something as brutal as this? I know that Puck typed out the heart, which is a little bit of a special gesture, but
yeah,
how does one come back from this?
Puck is a player that can tilt, actually. Like, he's very mentally emotional. Like, I know that when I used to live in America, if I ever played Puck, I'd purposefully mana mule him at every opportunity just because I know he can break. And
he's so mean, Ben.
You do anything you can to win.
That
being said, this wasn't... Like, Happy's not the kind of guy that will do that. I've never known Happy to...
he just plays the game.
But this was just down to Puck being like, oh, well, you know, sometimes you do get obliterated, no matter who you are, you know? The game obviously did not go his way. The Widowmine focused the perfect probe to blow up a good 12 or so. I mean, potentially Widowmines, you hope for like 3 or 4 kills at best.
And it's such a shame also because, I mean, there was nothing really wrong about Puck's build, just the location of the mothership core. It wasn't where it was supposed to be.
I'm kind of curious as well. Like, that is a map, in fact, that's one thing we have to talk about. The fact that you have a natural in the back of your base. So he could have assumed, oh, I think my opponent's expanding. So that's why I'm sending out like the Zealot and the 2 Adepts onto the map. But if he just had those things at home, he could have obviously dealt with that much better.
Yeah, you don't need to send both the Adepts, like one would have sufficed.
Right.
It's a bit strange. But now in the second game here on Ruins of Ceres, it's Puck's map choice, and in the bottom right we have Happy. Starting as the red Terran player. And he is up against, here in the top right of Ruins of Ceres, the blue Protoss player, Puck. Representing the team Flipside, as well as the USA.
Incredibly close spawn positions, by the way. This is one of the more interesting maps, I suppose, purely because all 3 positions, I guess horizontal and cross map, don't really change the game that much. But when it's vertical like this, such close air positions.
Absolutely, and we saw TY try this against Lilbo, but this approach from Happy is not going to be a one-base build again, like we saw from TY and Happy in the first game. This is going to be a CC first on the low ground here.
And Puck's going for a Nexus first as well, so this is one of the more macro-centric openings. In fact, this is the most macro-centric opening you can do from both sides in a TvP. Though, getting scouted so early on as a Terran, this kind of makes you worry. I love how he's walled off at the top of the ramp here. And if he goes in, close that depot. Close it. Nice.
There you go. Now the probe
timed.
is trapped. And this actually prevents the probe
CC
from
from getting
harassing.
harassed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the probe cannot harass. Like, sure, it can harass in here, but the SCVs, they're easy to grab from the mineral line. You can just take an SCV there. If it's get injured, you can just move it back to the minerals. And this probe is guaranteed to die. It's not going to escape. And this would have been far more troublesome for Happy if he didn't raise that depot. So very nice move by him. This, one of those small details, I would say, that makes Happy the player that he is. He's a lot about those small, cute moves that just are very good, but that not all players do.
Yeah, certainly. I guess one neat thing for Puck to gain from this, though, despite not being able to harass and slow down that CC with the probe, he got to see exactly what he was against immediately. He also got to see that there's no gases behind this. This is 3 racks, which means he has time. He can keep those chronos on those Nexus and just pile out probes ASAP.
So what kind of transition do you think that Puck is going to use here to counter the information that he has right now? He sees that there's a very late double gas. He sees their axes. Is it reasonable to take a 3rd base very quickly, for example?
Honestly, in these positions, we see a Twilight Council now, but one of the things that I'm always very scared of when I play like a 3-rack style without any sort of anti-air tech besides Marines is Warp Prism with Disruptor. Because it's going to be a long time before you get out Medevacs.
That's true.
So, and it's a long time before you get out Stim as well. So trying to dodge those Disruptor balls, you can just be moving out of your base or moving down a ramp. You can be at the wrong place at the wrong time and you can die. But also, he can keep you in your base defending. Like, if that Disruptor gets to your mineral line, that's a dead mineral line. And he can put up a 3rd while all this is going on. But a very different style from Puck. He looks like he's getting ready for the defensive game. I don't know if he's... I feel this is a bit too cautious, getting out Blink so early, because what realistically are you getting the Blink against right now?
Could be some sort of pressure, but I'm not sure if it's going to line up all that well against this Marine count, and it's very easy for Happy to just stay on the high ground. It could be some sort of blink into the main, possibly, using either War Prism or Observers for that, and Happy getting in his SCV Scout in the main of Puck, sees everything that's going on, sees that there is no 3rd base, so he knows very well what the economy situation is like here.
That was quite the Christopher Columbus of the SCV world. He absolutely scouted everything, and yeah, man, that was a lot of information garnered. Here, the Adepts, they die. That's 200 minerals and 50 gas for 1 Marine, so definitely not a trade that Puck wanted to happen. But yeah, getting onto that blink. So blink's obviously good, but these medevacs, the starport's only just finished.
What do you think of this gateway count? Adding 5 more gates and going up to 6 gates. What do you think of the Protoss when you go for 6 gate blink? That's quite the committal, don't you think?
It's a huge committal. I'm almost surprised that that blink is not the adept attack upgrade.
Does it also make sense to go for 6 gates against a 2-base turn? I don't see this work from Puck at all. I think it's...
One thing that I want to mention that's very different in HOTS compared to Legacy of Void is the fact that Stalkers automatically have 1 armor. And so that Marauder attack, when it's normally, let's say, 19 damage, it's now 18. But also because of the Sentry Guardian Shield, it minuses it by 4 again instead of just 2.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, the Sentry is so much more useful now. So you think Puck is going to go for this one massive frontal attack together with the sentries, or maybe loading up some sentries into the prism, or what do you see happening here?
Honestly, I never thought this was a strong build, but...
Yeah, because Puck is going to attack, like that much is for sure, and it seems to be at the front here.
But it's a build that definitely gained a lot of strength, just because Marauders are significantly weaker against Protoss.
Absolutely.
You're talking about Marauders that...
Here we go, the blink is made. Can we see the force field on the ramp?
He's gonna... Okay.
Oh my, my. And only 1 medivac, right?
Wait, what is that? Is that combat shields? Okay, he got the combat shields. That's
now
really
it all makes sense. The starport is so late, and with the war prism and the sentries in the main,
oh, the
Puck
medevac
fooled all of us here. He fooled Happy, fooled us, and now he's in the main.
Oh, this medevac needs to stay alive. Medevac... Oh, Happy's dealing with this as best he can, and there's only 1 sentry left. In fact, he's not even using Guardian Shield at this point in time.
Not even dropping a force field there, just letting everything in, but it's too much Protoss at this point, and honestly at this point you could also warp in Adepts, which are great against any Marines that might come out, and the Stalkers are going to deal with the Marauders that are so critically wounded. Easy peasy. I think Puck is going to even the series here. Dropping another force field, just adding insult to injury, another chain of Marines going out, but they're just running into the Stalker fire and they're going to die.
You know, this was all Happy just being out of position. He had his army all at his natural. And honestly, the game's so new that I don't blame him for making that mistake, because we didn't know until now that this was a mistake.
I didn't even see this coming.
If you look at the third, how the position of it is, if you get Stalkers there, you can blink either onto the main or into the natural.
And the prism is so fast as well.
It's so fast, so even if you are in the main waiting with your army, it could just be down to the Protoss choosing to go in the natural instead. So it's a beautiful strategy for the map, and I've got to commend Puck on his strategy choice, because I've not really seen this before.
This is a very cool build from the Protoss, and probably going to see a lot of it on the ladder the next few days, I think, on Sarah's.
Certainly.
It looks very fun to play, but Happy is going for a counter drop, and there is no Mothership Core in sight just yet. There it is.
Oh, there it is. And there are pylons available to overcharge, but they are not destined to last in this world for very long.
And if Puck can take out the medivacs, then this army of Happy does not have any longevity whatsoever. But the range of this pylon is just way too small. It can't fire right now.
Happy's doing what he can to try and get back in this game, as he can't take on the full army of Puck, but honestly, I don't really see it working out for him. If he manages to kill both Nexus and hope that his opponent has less than 400 minerals and he can float his buildings and such, but as we see, that doesn't look like it's in the cards right now.
It's a very desperate attempt, but it is an attempt nonetheless. You do everything you can to win, and Happy, he wins a lot of games from some very desperate situations, but let's see what he can do here. Some very nice drop micro here, picking up the wounded units and dropping them back down. From both sides, actually. Puck using the War Prism, and Happy the Marauders and the Medivacs, but it's not going to be enough, and Puck takes the game, equalizing the series now, 1-1.
And we talked about...
Looking very happy there with a somewhat unorthodox build, using a 2-base build against a Terran player playing 2-base. Like, it's not supposed to be easy.
No.
But Puck suddenly made it look easy, dropping the force field on the ramp and locking everything out.
And you talked about how does he come back from the first game where he just lost in the blink of an eye? Well, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
You bring out a build that you've obviously tried, tested.
This seemed very refined. Yeah.
It really did. So, I mean, that's really impressive to come back from such a loss where you obviously make quite a few blunders, but then to bring it back with your A game, and that was like A+ game too. That was very clean. I was kind of struggling to think, okay, yeah, I see potential, but
it can also make Happy feel a little bit like, yeah, I mean, it's 1-1 now, but this game was far longer than the first one. The first one was kind of a cheap win.
Right.
So do you think maybe Happy could be thinking a bit along those lines, like maybe I should try to go for another cheap, quick Widow Mine drop, or should you just try to go for the normal 2-base thing again? Because Puck right now proved to be very, very unpredictable. Using a build like this despite scouting.
Yeah, like
if I was playing Terran right now, then Puck's logic, it just wouldn't make sense to me, you know? It's so unpredictable.
The thing is, the first build he did something very unpredictable, yes, with the 1-base. But as soon as you go CC first and your opponent sees you're making 3 racks without gases, it's no longer down to you, it's down to your opponent and what he's going to do. Because you've kind of said, hey, I'm doing this, and there's no real change. It's not as if you can get 3rd and 4th gas on your Expo and just make a totally different strategy. It's not the way that Terran works. You are very, very linear with what you can do. So
very locked down to the path that you already went down.
Right. So while it is obviously an economic build, the Protoss is in no threat, and he knows when he is under threat. So up until that point, he can do whatever he wants to try and gain a lead. So it can be economic, what's the word? Froggy leaps?
Yeah.
Like leapfrogging, or it can be just knowing when to kill your opponent, and Puck chose the latter. I really like, I do really like his decision. And what is the third map between these guys? Orbital Shipyard, is that?
Orbital Shipyard is going to be Happy's choice here. A bit of a smaller map. I mean, we did get the close air positions, so in that sense, the rush distance was kind of small, and when warp-ins with warp prisms are involved, then the distances don't really matter that much, because you basically teleport the units you warp them in.
This is also a map where you're given a free Expo. And Happy took advantage of that by not getting the Expo and doing the 1-base drop.
So the mind games are going to be quite intense right now. Is he going to do it again? Is it going to be a 1-base?
And it's Legacy of the Void. We don't know all the builds available.
Yeah, I mean,
do
you think Puck is played versus Happy on the ladder a lot? Because I know that Happy, I've asked him for custom games quite a few times, and in general, he doesn't say yes. He just likes to play ladder.
Right.
And I think perhaps Puck has been practicing a little bit, so maybe...
I have never seen the nickname Mellow on Europe.
No, me neither.
I haven't seen Puck, the nickname Puck on Europe either.
Could be a barcode.
Could be, but given the new Legacy of the Void ping, latency changes within regards to playing on North America especially, you can choose which region you play on for ping.
Yeah.
And I don't think... I know that Puck lives in North Carolina or so I'm not sure if it's a place where internet's amazing. But when you're given those options to play with 0 latency or play with 150 plus, you always take the 0.
I guess it's more comfortable.
So whether these guys have played against each other or not, either way, he's played against enough guys going CC first, 3 racks, no gas.
Yeah,
before.
that's for sure. So this was a very practiced response from Puck. We'll see what he goes for next. Ben?
The cast to curse, eh?
The cast to curse.
You're feeling it. The hard life.
I'm feeling it.
Imagine Tasteless, man.
Yep.
He went through some tough stuff. Yes. You can't really do it more than once a day if you want to keep on talking. But or you can just drink barrels of whiskey and develop the voice naturally. Either way.
Either way, we'll be going into this game soon. Seems to be loading up sometime soon. Just waiting for a bit of info on that. Have you played a lot of games on Orbital Shipyard, TvP? What do you think of this map from a Terran perspective?
One of the tough things about this is warp prisms into your natural main. You probably feel the same way as a Zerg player.
Yeah. You definitely want to lock that natural down. Even if it's in base, it's supposed to feel safe, but it's very difficult to actually get the... there's no possibility for a ground army to actually support the path beyond that level.
Yeah, I mean, Terran... Unfortunately, we don't have flying supply depots that can kind of see a warp prism incoming. So as soon as that thing is in your base, it's in your base without really you having much input that it was coming. But we will be going right into game here. Third map of the series. And spawning is the red Terran in the southwest of Orbital Shipyard. It is Happy.
Will he 1-base or will he expand? That's the question. We'll find out in a little bit. The player he is up against, from flip side, it is Puck.
Now, Puck went for a Nexus first that game, which I'm surprised hasn't garnered more popularity in this matchup. Because even if you go for a prox, or even if you go for a Reaper build, I don't really see you killing more than a couple of probes.
And there you have it, another Nexus first.
I really like it. I don't really see the negatives. You might lose a probe or two, but even if you do lose probes, you gain more than you lose from this. Purely because you'll be probes ahead.
Makes sense. Just another gas here, so it looks kind of one basey, but at the same time, the gas is too late. Most likely, we're going to see just a normal Reaper expand, perhaps.
This lines up very well with the barracks finishing and having 100 gas for that factory.
All right, yeah.
Insanely well. So I do think we will have...
Yeah, factory, orbital.
And he's hiding the factory away from the front here. So even if a probe does get to the top of that ramp...
Right, just
he doesn't
another
know what
one
he's
base.
up against yet. Right. But Happy, as we all know, he's a man with a pattern. If you see this and you get to see very early on that, hey, this guy, he's made Marines, he's not made a Reaper. You tend to, if you've played against him before, it's a very good chance that he's probably doing the exact same thing that he did once against you.
Did this probe see it though? Did it see the Marine? So far it doesn't seem like it. Only actually checking the barracks. So, but I suppose the SCV scout tells it all. This is not the Reaper opening, so the gas could go into that factory, and we'll see what kind of response Puck goes for from this. Probably, do you think we will see the Robo again, or maybe something else like the Twilight?
I'd love to see a Robo from him.
Yeah, it should be the safest choice, just in case one of those Wither Mines go down.
The safest, but also when you're pretty sure you've got a lead, that's not a time when you take chances. That's a time when you solidify what you already have. So as a player like Puck, he knows that he can win, not the macro game, but he can win against Happy quite easily too. Why chance it? Here, he's making Adepts. I don't want him to play aggressive with those though.
Yeah, I think we had a second Adept queued up, but it was cancelled in favor of this robotics facility. More gas is going down as well, so this is looking very, very defensive, very macro-oriented from Puck. I like this approach a lot, but it's going to be on Puck's side of things to defend this much, much better than the first game, because that was a disaster and the game just ended. So it's up to Puck to make sure that that does not happen again.
Now, I wonder what Happy's follow-up is going to be with this, because he's producing a second gas, getting the reactor on the barracks. A lot of Terrans, upon doing a build like this where you kind of need to slow down the Protoss, they like to leapfrog ahead in like elsewhere. And
oh, look at this probe.
This is perfect.
The parting probe sees the medevac.
Man.
But did you see it, Puck? Surely on the minimap, you must have seen this one. It stayed in the vision for so much longer than in the first game. You have to see this one in the mothership core. You already have the Adepts in the front.
And look at how meticulous Happy is. Going for the natural again. Like, this is exactly the same as in game one.
It has to go. Where's the mothership core? It's in the middle.
It is in the middle.
Happy's going for the main. Now he's going for the natural. Marine's dropping down. The mothership core a little bit out of position awkwardly. Where are the Adepts? The mine is going to get to burrow here. This time. But the range of this.
I tell you what, though.
Very nice.
Happy's making this look awkward for Puck. Like, this is dealing damage that it shouldn't really be doing. Like, there should be a pylon in the middle there between the minerals. Like, he's getting into spots that he shouldn't really be able to get into, but we do see that he still has a 41 worker count against just 28 of Happy. So despite taking a little bit of damage and maybe not killing off the drop entirely, he has defended it. And here's where he should have had a pylon initially, which I doubt he'll make that mistake again in the future, but 8 probe kills from this harass that realistically he saw it as it was coming across the map. He actually played Happy doing this exact same build earlier in this series, so it's kind of inexcusable to really make these mistakes, but
it does happen.
He is ahead, and it does happen. And you were talking about, oh wow, he's still trying to get damage done here.
Still a lot of lost mining time though, so the worker count is a little bit deceptive, but still from here, Puck is definitely in a very good economic position and the tech has not been delayed. The RoboBay did go down. Happy sees this though, this is so awkward.
Oh man.
Disruptor actually taking some fire from those Marines.
Do you know what I really like by Puck? I love the Warp Prism speed, and I love the fact that he is holding on to this, and he's building up an army slowly, so he will be able to use his Warp Prism aggressively while being able to defend this. And a Disruptor, it's not just a unit where it's like, oh, if you have units to defend, you're fine against it. No, because this Disruptor can blow them all to smithereens. So I really like this build. And then with that, you can get a third behind it. There's a mothership core available. Is he not?
Not again!
Not again! Oh my god, it happened again!
A massive hit there. How many probes went down? That was maybe 10 probes.
That was an awesome Widow Mine, and Puck really clustered up against this.
Happened.
That shouldn't happen.
That really shouldn't happen. And Puck all of a sudden is in a lot of trouble. Just this really, really annoying multitasking from Happy here, pushing Puck to the limit.
And he's going in again. The Widow Mine, it's almost recharged here. It's going to get another shot, but looks like,
that's so cool, by the way. Happy was totally dropping those Marines.
To buy time.
To buy time, to tank some damage and draw fire away from the Widow Mine.
Oh, man. I don't know how many workers just died there for Happy, but...
It didn't look like a whole lot.
Denied mining time. 1 worker died compared to the 27 that Happy has killed. But their worker count's still fairly similar. But obviously, as a Terran, orbital commands do work out as a good... Each orbital command is roughly 4 workers because of the mules.
Yeah.
And here, Puck's doing the strategy that I have had a lot of trouble with, where you take a third and you harass with the disruptors. But what was missing in my games was Widow Mines that get a good 12 pro kills at once.
Another disruptor shot here, actually killing 2 Marauders.
Yeah.
Great pick off there. It's not exactly like killing 12 SCVs, but it's still...
it's something.
It's good value, it's something.
Yeah, 200 minerals, 50 gas for nothing. For a cooldown.
For a cooldown.
That costs you nothing.
And the War Prism speed is there as well, so this Prism is not going to go down to this Viking. Obviously a very slow unit, cannot catch up to the speed of the Prism.
Now this is a really interesting game, because this is one of the first PVTs that we've seen kind of normalize without either player going for some crazy
disruptor shot though. Very good splits from Happy, and Puck's saving the disruptor as well.
Man, like disruptors, they cause heart attacks, because if you're not looking even for a second, you're going to die. That was a great observer pickup, by the way. He knows exactly where Happy's coming, and yeah, he's getting in position, but that bio ball, it's very, very scary at this moment in time.
Yeah, especially on a map like this, because Happy can very, very easily choose if he wants to drop in the third or in the main.
And we look at the production tab, by the way. There are Liberators in production.
So slowly getting there.
And that is one unit that the Disruptor cannot break. Flies in the air.
Flies in the air.
2 shots pretty much every Protoss unit on the field right now.
Very good awareness here by Puck with a lot of Blink Stalkers. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was Happy right now trying to actually dive into this, but I don't think that's his plan either.
No, right now, he's got that Disruptor away from him. He sees like the Warp Prism, and while he's been doing all this floating around, he's not been getting harassed, so sometimes it's better to threaten your opponent rather than like sit back and take it.
Absolutely, but Puck feels comfortable to move out again with this Prism. Sees a few units here, but there's no targets to shoot. A little bit of an awkward drop there, actually revealing the War Prism with the Disruptors.
I mean,
I'm not really sure if this is worth it, just killing 1 Marauder.
This is risky. He knows there's Medivacs out on the map, and I mean...
Yeah, and theoretically, the active Medivac force that Happy has a little to the left here, it could have intercepted this Prism somehow using the speed boost on the Medivacs, just dropping Marines down alongside the Prism.
That's what I was very worried about for Puck there too. One thing that Terran do have as an advantage though in this matchup now, they don't have to rely on upgrades that much anymore. They can actually fall behind in upgrades quite happily, purely because of the damage output of Liberators. That is your main damage output. Your bio's just there to make sure that your Liberators don't get shut down.
Very confident move there. Picking off 1 Medivac, that's good. And checking out the game, the Stargate. What do you think about the Stargate here?
Eventually he's going to have to deal with Liberators. And how do you do that? I honestly don't think Tempests are the way. I think Void Rays are very good. And if your Protoss opponent has like a good 6 Void Rays and Disruptors and such, the damage output is insane, both on ground and air. And Liberators, even though you think, oh, they're anti-air, if there's like 6 Void Rays, if I have 12 Liberators, they'll win the fight, right? If you split those Void Rays up just a little bit, the Void Rays actually slaughter Liberators very easily. And how do you support your Liberators against the Void Rays? You just have to run away because the Disruptors are keeping your bio back.
The question is though, Puck is investing in a lot of technology, a lot of infrastructure right now. The Happy seems to be moving out. So that was a very nice explosion, but still, Happy is moving out here with a very, very threatening army, and I'm not sure if he wants to commit or not.
Not yet. Not yet.
Reveals the army, it's a little too intimidating, so it's going to be a little bit of those defensive standoff games for now, and I think we'll be able to see some very interesting interactions later on here.
Happy won't do anything until his +2, +2, and +1 have finished. Also, the clock's more on the Protoss player at this point in time. When that Liberator ball's just climbing and climbing, it's up to him to make the right moves, because Terran usually trades more efficiently at this moment in time. But this could be a really good move of Happy here. Oh man.
This is a crazy way to lock down this area. These Liberators just sneaking around. And this is just a huge death trap
oh
for
my
the Protoss.
lord.
Happy with the multitasking, taking out the 4th of Puck as well. And these Disruptors cannot advance to this position because there's freedom zones everywhere.
Freedom zones absolutely everywhere. Look how efficiently he's trading. And the Liberators decimating all the anti-air. The Stalkers running in, but they're getting blown up and
wow,
GG.
That's how quickly the Liberators can liberate.
They can liberate everything. And Happy doesn't even look phased by it.
The orbital shipyard defends the Protoss.
You know, that was just a portion of his army too, but...
And it disappeared in seconds.
Yeah, he did a pult though, you know, like he sectioned off as a part of his army, took out the 4th Nexus, which was really clean, really cool. But man, that dropped. All it took was a good 9, 10 Liberators flying in, setting up the zones, and getting like 3 medevacs worth of bio. But he forced his opponent into a terrible fighting situation there. He really didn't anticipate that attack at all.
How does one stop this? Were the Stalkers out of position? What exactly went wrong for Puck here?
He lost where the army was. And I think he was anticipating that he'd have way more time than he did, because he was producing 1 Stargate. Then when that finished, he started producing a 2nd Stargate. He didn't put them to use, which, if you have a few Void Rays ready in that location, obviously you'd need more than just a few to deal with that. But if you're even remotely ready for that attack, because there was no Warpins flying in, there was no photon overcharges being done, and if you've only got 3 medevacs worth of units, that isn't a terrible amount of firepower against buildings alone. So it was just about Puck not being ready in time against that attack. We are welcomed back on the panel by Apollo and Nathanius.
Hi.
Hello, fellas.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. Did you like that game?
Yeah. We were making fun of it, actually. We were very surprised about how many SCV kills Happy killed in game number 2, yet was never ahead in SCV count, worker count.
Oh, in that final game, you mean?
Yeah.
And then he pointed out that he just can't build 2 SCVs at once at any time.
Happy is known, actually, for microing so hard that he actually forgets to macro.
he got the massive probe hit, and then Marines killing workers. I'm like, oh god, he must be so far ahead. He was like 10 workers behind. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, that's also the strength of going Nexus first and you having permanent chrono boost.
Yeah.
But also the fact that his CC so late. So while you're kind of guaranteed doing a bit of damage, it's never usually enough unless you get like those Dream Widowmine hits, which he seemed to be getting every time.
Right.
Yeah, the probe splitting there was less than ideal, I would say.
Less than ideal, Nathan.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to note that Puck actually did a pretty solid job in that last game of keeping the drops away due to the observer positioning. But I don't know if like the Liberators sniped it earlier or if Puck moved it away to try to get a Widowmine.
Before the very last engagement, the Liberators, there was a scan, killed the observer, and from there, Puck was in the dark for the
that's
crucial 10 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't even like so much that the army was out of position, but it was also like outside. It was down the cliff outside the 3rd base. It wasn't even like, okay, I'm at the 3rd, blink up into my main and try to defend. It was, no, I have to run all the way up, and yeah,
that is so intimidating as Protoss. Like, you're barely outside your own 3rd. Then you're in so much trouble just for moving.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible to think the way that TvP has changed. Like once that army composition is reached, Protoss has a lot harder time now, and it's, you know, the shoe is on the other foot as far as building up that Death Army goes. But we're gonna hear now from the winner of that series. We're gonna have Happy over with Smix.
That is right, Nathanius. I'm here with Happy after that win. First of all, congratulations. Sure, you're very happy to have that win after your first 2 losses in the day. So let's just start there. Obviously, it's not the greatest way to start the day, but what do you think went wrong in those games?
Well, I think I just lost. I can't say that I played horribly or something like that. Probably players I lost against are better than me. That's why.
Well, luckily in this game, things worked out in your favor. Games 1 and 3 especially, it just seemed that things really worked out for you, especially in that game 1. You had a great Widow Mine hit, you got that pylon down, you got the Mothership core, everything worked out beautifully, so you must have been really happy to see that.
Yeah, well, first game was like complete surprise. I didn't expect to win so fast. I guess my opponent didn't pay enough attention for his Mothership core, so that's why he lost quick. Third game, well, I had one really juicy Widow Mine hit that gave me a lot of big advantage. But then I just won a macro game.
Well, if you want to have a really good chance at advancing out of this group, the next 2 games for you are very, very important. It's going to be against PT Drogo as well as Zanster, and we all know that you have many, many games of ladder that you practice. So in terms of those players, how confident do you feel about going up against them?
Well, I think beside Bomber and my group, everyone are about the same level right now, so I can't say I'm super confident, but I think it won't be the hardest match, so I think I have an okay chances. I can do it.
All right, and Happy, we actually saw you do really, really well at a DreamHack before. That was about a year ago at Moscow. Of course, it's been a really long time since then, and now we're in Legacy of the Void, the first premier tournament here at DreamHack Winter. How do you feel about Legacy of the Void in general and how it's working out for you?
Well, the game is fresh, so the strategies are fresh. Everyone's having like a new start, but I think it's not gonna last for long because the game will get figured out soon enough. So enjoy while you can watching the tournament with weird strategies and unexpected results. I think Legacy of the Void can have a good future if they'll have good support as it had in the beta.
All right then, well thank you very much, Happy, and best of luck in your matches against PT Drogo and Zanster. Of course, we are headed to another small break, but when we come back, we will have Happy going up against Zanster. So will his Happy run continue, or will Zanster be the killjoy? We'll find out soon enough.